Hello and welcome to this video on Dhammapada, chapter 5, verse 7. And that's verse 66 in the straight-through consecutive numbering. I will call it up for you. Here we are. Charanti bala dummedha amitteneva attana karonta papakam kammam yang hoti katuka phalam. Again. Charanti bala dummedha amitteneva attana karonta papakam kammam yang hoti katuka phalam. iPad screen coming up. Here we are. Charanti bala dummedha. Bala. Bala. Oops. Sorry, that's wrong. Bala, the original meaning was a child, and then by extension, a grown-up who acts in a childish way, or a silly person, or a foolish person. Infantile is the idea behind it. So, dummedha, medho is the mind, originally the brain actually, but the mind, and we have the name of our well-known Ajahn, Sumedho, good-brained, meaning wise, intelligent. And the opposite in Sanskrit would be Dur-medha, which is in Pali, Dummedha, and in plural Dummedha, bad-minded, in the sense of stupid. You haven't got your wits about you. So Dummedha bala is the plural. Dummedha bala, for the plural. Means stupid fools. Charanti, from the root char, meaning to move and to go. It's not go as in go from A to B, but char, just the idea of moving about, going about, being in motion. That is the meaning of char. So charanti, they move about. The dummedha bala charanti, stupid fools, wander about, go about. That's the idea. Amitteneva attana. This is amittena iva attana. The iva meaning as if. We have two instrumentals here, amittena and attana. Normally, when you have the instrumental used without a preposition or postposition, such as saha, it means instrumentality, using a thing to do something. If you're using instrumental in the sense of with somebody, as in doing something in somebody's company, then you tend to use the postposition, called postposition because it comes after the noun in question, not before. It's a sort of preposition. So if you're going for a walk with a friend, say, I'm going for a walk with a friend, I'd say, mittena saha charami. Saha meaning in the company of, and with the instrumental, mitta, friends, mittena saha, with a friend. If I'm walking with a stick is a danda. If I'm walking with a stick, I'm not walking, hello stick, will you come for a walk with me? I'm using a stick to help me walk. Therefore, it really is an instrument then. So you just use it dandena without any preposition or postposition. So dandena charami. I'm walking with a stick in the sense of I'm using a stick to help me walk. In this verse, it's clearly intended as in the company of, amitteneva attana, in the company of oneself, as if with an enemy. But the saha is not used. That's for the exigencies of the meter. There would have been too many syllables in the line if you'd used saha. And therefore, by poetic license, as so often happens in all languages, you can depart from the normal usage to strain the language a little bit. But it's completely comprehensible anyway. So Charanti Bala Dumedha, they go about, these fools, stupid, Amitteneva Attana, as if with a hostile self. Now, Mitta means a friend, and your Amitta can be either a noun meaning an unfriend, which is an enemy, or it can be an adjective meaning full of enmity or hostile. Bear in mind also that our word enemy means an unfriend. So it's from the Latin word amicus, it's Latin, equals friend. So an unfriend, put the in meaning un, the a changes to an e, inimicus, equals unfriend, enemy. And it's from that we get the adjective that we use in English, inimical, meaning hostile. And it's from that same root that by phonetic variation we get enemy, from inimicus, enemy. So exactly the same happens in Pali, mitta, friend, amitta, enemy, or as an adjective, hostile. So attana, in Sanskrit, Atman means the self, and it's the consonantal declension. In other words, the stem doesn't end in a vowel. The stem ends in a consonant, and the case endings therefore are joined directly onto that consonant stem. So, for example, in Sanskrit, for the instrumental, if a word ends in an a, then the instrumental is ena, same in Pali. But for the consonant stem, you just add an a, atmana, with a self. We have this same in, actually, that's a line, very first verse. Chapter 1, verse 1. The second line begins with manasa, with a mind. It's because it's actually in Sanskrit, it's a consonant stem ending in as, manas. And therefore the instrumental is manasa. And so we have in Dhammapada, chapter 1, verse 1, second line, manasache paduktena bahasati va karusiva. If he bahasati va karutiva, if he speaks or acts, manasa, paduktena manasa, with a corrupt, with a spoiled, with an evil mind. So atmana, and in Pali, as usual, that becomes attana. So with a self. So charanti, they go around, attana, with a self, as if an enemy, as if that self is an enemy. So amittena iva attana. There's the iva means as if. So amittena iva attana, all of that is with, because it's all in the instrumental. Iva, as if, with a hostile self, or as if with a self that is an enemy. You could construe it in either way. Amitteneva attana, as if with your own self as an enemy. So charanti bala dummedha amitteneva attana. They go around. The idea is that their selves are so wicked that it's as if they've got an enemy with them rather than their very own self. they're what's meant to be, having your best interests at heart. Your closest friend is instead an enemy, as if with a hostile self. Karunta papakam kammam yamhoti kotakapalam. Karunta papakam kammam, from the root kri, to do, karoti, he, she, it does, and the long form, doing, the present participle is kurunta, and in the plural, then it becomes kurunta, which is not the first word in our second line. Kurunta papakam kammam, doing evil deeds or doing an evil action. Kammam here, it's in the singular, but of course in a more generalized sense, you can either acting in an evil way or doing evil deeds. As we know, papa can be a noun or an adjective, meaning sinful, evil. As it can also, you can also create another adjective out of it. Papaka is here, again just meaning evil. So papakam kammam, evil acts, evil deeds, evil doing. So karunta, plural, masculine plural, because they are doing. See, kurunta papakam kammam, doing evil deeds. Yam huti katukapalam. Yam, just meaning which, doing evil deeds, which will have a bitter fruit, a bitter result. Katuka, in Sanskrit and Pali, there's katuka. The most common meaning of it is as one of the categories of taste. It's the sharp, the bitter taste. In fact, it's from the root, or probably from the root, krit, meaning to cut, which in fact cognate with our English word cut. So this katuka, and cutting, etymologically the katuka would be cutting in the sense of the cutting taste, that sharp, bitter taste. So in katukam palam would mean literally a bitter fruit, and as so often, the word pala, literally meaning fruit, in fact cognate with our English word fruit. You see, pala, the p becomes a, and the l becomes a sort of fruit. So means the result, and in particular the result of the karmic result of an action. So yamhuti, which is or which will be, yamhuti katukapalam, bitter fruited. This is a compound, so we have katuka, bitter, and pala, it's a neuter noun, palam, meaning a fruit. Put them together into a compound adjective, and it makes katuka palam, bitter fruited, having a bitter fruit. Note there's a slight anomaly here. You can join them together in a single word, a single compound. You could say katukam palam, a bitter fruit. Palam, neuter noun, katukam, neuter adjective, katukam palam, bitter fruit. You can join them into one word, katuka palam. I should say that the doubling of the P there, normally when you see a letter doubled in Pali, there's a good reason for it in Sanskrit, either because it was a pr or something, or it was a pt or something, that would become a double T, but a pr in Sanskrit would tend to become a double P in Pali. There is no, so to speak, etymological or linguistic justification for the doubling of the P here. It just sometimes happens, and it tends to happen. It would not happen in prose, but the poetry required a heavy syllable here, so short vowel followed by a doubled consonant, so it's just doubled. You occasionally get that happening. For example, I forget which verse it is now. The gati is from the root gam meaning to gati, you're going, so your destination, the place of going. And you have in Sanskrit durgati, the bad destination, often translated as hell, but no, not really, just a bad destination, typically in your next life. But you go to a bad place to be, durgati, which in Pali, by regular phonetic change, becomes duggati, the bad destination. Now, in Sanskrit, you have sugati, which in Pali is also sugati, but there is a verse which we've done recently in this series, I forget which one it is, but where the G is actually doubled, sugati, without any, the same point here, without any etymological or linguistic justification for that doubling. The justification for it there was it needed to rhyme with duggati. You have duggati, sugati. They don't rhyme, but duggati, sugati, as they do exactly rhyme. That was why there was this, so to speak, unjustified doubling. But it just happens, accept it. So, katukappalam. So, katukappalam, this bitter plus fruit have been joined together into a compound, and it's a possessive compound. It means something that has a bitter fruit, or bitter fruited, has something that has a bitter result. So the papakam kammam, the evil deed, yam hoti, which is bitter fruited, or to put it in more normal English, which has a bitter fruit, because the deed has a bitter fruit. So I will read this for you again now. I'll call up the text. Oops. Charanti bala dumedha amitteneva attana gronta papakam kammam yamhoti katukappalam. Charanti bala dumedha amitteneva attana gronta papakam kammam yamhoti katukappalam. And that's all on this video.